won over any doubts that he had, won over the dressing room especially, because there was all these stories at the start about the players not liking him.
It still is a volatile dressing room. You've got a lot of people there and a lot of money, and if they're not in the team, they're upset. But a winning team breeds confidence around the place.
And belief in the manager.
Belief in the manager. So if he keeps on winning games, then he's fine. I'm with Neil. I think it's fantastic seeing City up there at the top. We do need somebody else there. I actually, at the beginning of the season, tipped them to win the league, just to be a little bit naughty. But, you know, I do feel that they've got the players now. There's certainly the addition of Dzeko is a fine one. I know he cost 27 million and not exactly a bargain, but he can bring something to the party. They're good to watch, and also you see the strength of that bench yesterday. You got James Milner coming on. You got David Silva coming on.
Yeah,
I mean that's a warning to other clubs that this City squad is a fantastic squad, and it's capable of winning things.
People go on about the money. Like yesterday, people say, "Oh, you know, there's 100 million on the bench." We stop going on about it. You know, yes, they bought all these players, but you still have to have a manager who can mould these players together. Now, I still believe that Mark Hughes was sacked before his time, and I think he was getting there. But now he's gone. We have a manager who's had to cope with an awful lot in terms of the egos that have been brought in. You know, a lot of clubs you have a couple of star players. Here you've had players who've been the main men at other clubs, and now they've all come together. And he's had to work very hard to start to gel them. Now, we see the scraps on the training ground. I'm sure these scraps go on at other clubs, and the City always say to us, "Oh, this happens at every club." I say, yeah, but the difference is, at every other club, there's not a public footpath going down the side of the training ground where the photographers can see it all happening. and unfortunately, they can't put a screen about it because the council won't let them. No, he thinks it's great. He thinks it's positive that there is that intensity. I mean, he doesn't really want them smacking each other in the nose, but he thinks it's positive that there's an intensity in the training ground, and there is a huge intensity at City at the minute for success, and it's spilling over all over the place. You know, there's an electricity around the club, and it would be fantastic if they achieved something.
Well, I mean, the point about the Champions League elite clubs, you cannot grow a club organically the way you used to be able to because of the corrupting influence of the UEFA Champions League money. And it's all well and good for Platini to talk about financial fair play and everything, but the biggest contribution to this unfair playing field is the Champions League money. Now, you can grow a club organically to probably 5th place or 6th place, or, you know, as Sunderland, Bolton or whatever, but to actually get into the Champions League and to get in there consistently, you need to spend an awful lot of money. So City were left with no option. You know, you can't. It would have have taken them 30 years to get there, trying to do it through the youth team, and it wouldn't happen.
But teams have spent money in the past. I mean, Man United have spent.
But this is a good point, you see, because they're going on about, well, City are spending their way into the top 4. Manchester United broke the British transfer record 3 seasons running. Liverpool spent enormous amounts of money under Houllier. Chelsea, I mean, what did they do?
I just want to
so why is everyone having to go to City for doing it?
Yes, you stick up for them. I just want to draw your attention to this story about Capello. Back me or sack me. On the back of this story, that the FA announced on Tuesday that they would soon be naming a young English coach to work in his backroom staff. Apparently, he knows nothing about it, and is now saying, "OK, if you're not keeping me informed."
They want to pretend they haven't got a foreign manager. You see, what we want to do is we want to cheat, basically. You know, it's meant to be the best of yours against the best of theirs. That's what international football is always meant to be. But we don't want that. We want to be the first country to buy a World Cup. So what we do is we get the best coach in, because the FA's own coaching system is failing to produce coaches of sufficient standard to manage the England team, apparently. And so we get a foreign coach in, and then what we try to do is pretend that he's English, really, by surrounding him with lots of English people, and then we're going to sort of shoehorn, we're going to push this guy into him and push that guy into him, to pretend that there's some great sophisticated English thing going on, when actually we know that any match that we win, we are winning with an Italian manager, an Italian strategy, an Italian fitness coach, an Italian goalkeeping coach, on a part share with an English goalkeeping coach. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then what we do is, after the World Cup,